Hello, everybody. Welcome to RPSunday and the Order of the Red Ivy. I hope everybody's had a good week, had some fun. We will be, thanks everybody that's in here for the host, by the way. We will be continuing where we left off at the River Gate on the Valinescan side of the river. A couple quick announcements before I get crazy. If you have better Twitch TV, See Top Hoot is a new emote drawn by Miss Cat herself. As always, her emotes are out fucking standing. So, you know, feel free to spam. Also, next week, unfortunately, some of our members will be out of town doing things. So we will still be having an episode. It just will not be an episode of the Order of the Red Ivy. It will be like a mini one-shot type of thing. Same world, same everything, just not the same characters and a different story. Other than that, I think it's time to unleash the children. Children.
Avenge your parents' death.
Yes.
Oh, what are we doing?
Wait.
Who are we
if you're calling
avenging?
us children, does that mean you want us?
No.
If
No.
we're your children,
No.
does
No.
that mean you want us to call you?
No.
I mean, if we're your children, that means you have a grandchild.
That's fine. I'm cool with that.
I figured, just let you know.
Anyways, who are we avenging?
Go
No.
Hoot. Avenging? Oh, Hoot Hoot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He's not dead, but
He might be.
Hopefully,
It's
he
possible.
doesn't try to look for food
it's
by
possible.
following Cat and encountering the guards, because they will kill him. Did we determine it wasn't him yet?
No.
I don't think they have genders. They're monstrosities.
I mean, they do, but none of you are
We didn't
trained
roll for
enough
that.
to figure out the gender of an owlbear.
I mean, you'd think it'd be as easy as just looking between its legs,
Yeah,
but
sure. That's
I
how
don't
that
know.
works.
Yeah, let me just go, next time I see Hoot Hoot, let me just be like, hey, I need to go look at your crotch real quick.
I mean, why not? You got thrown at his face. So.
You did.
Not at his face. It was not his face. Hello? Like, how many times do I have to specify it was not his face?
I'm sorry, you're right. It was more like the ground at his feet. That wasn't
Yeah.
your fault, though.
He got spiked.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody.
Ha.
Back to the River Gate. In our last adventure, you guys walked from Harold's house. He gave you like a little hand-drawn map showing you exactly where the Red Ivy Keep was. You decided that you were just going to go ahead and go for it. And you knew that you would have to walk to the River Gate to get there. Going through the forest, we met our favorite owlbear, Hoot Hoot.
Hoot Hoot.
Almost killed him. Did kind of kill him, but he was brought back by Kyler. And then proceeded to eat every ration available over the next, like, probably 12 hours. So you guys had fun with the owlbear. Kat learned a lot about her character and its love for animals. And then we proceeded down to the River Gate. Once getting down to the River Gate on the Alexandrian side, we saw that there was kind of like a checkpoint system going on. Guards were checking everybody coming in and out. Kyler saw somebody that he had known who pulled him aside, who was wearing like a different uniform. Just seemed a lot fancier than like the normal military that was there. And after speaking with this guard that Kyler knew, you guys were permitted to just go through the gate without really any hassle at all. Walking across the bridge, you walked through the main area, and you have now transcended onto the Valinescan side. The Valinescan side, as 3 of the party members will already know and be familiar with, is a lot more open. For everybody that's a non-human, you can kind of just like breathe a sigh of relief. Like you feel like you're allowed to breathe here. It's not as, I guess, stuffy is the word it is on the Alexandrian side. The architecture here is elvish in nature. Even though this is a kingdom of men, it used to be an elven kingdom completely. And a lot of that architecture and style has remained. So a lot of the buildings are made with wood. They're very ornate. There's great forests inside Valnesca that provide them with a lot of lumber and stuff like that. So a lot of things are made out of wood and not so much stone and everything like that. As you guys walk through, you're greeted by a large gathering of people that are going to the gate to walk across, or just like trading small knickknacks and wares, haggling prices, chatting with their friends and stuff like that. You do see the occasional guard. You get the sense that they're a little bit more relaxed than the guards that you just had to deal with. But other than that, nothing spectacular is going on.
So there is a market?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily a market. It's more like travelers who are going to sell their stuff in Alexandria have stopped here and are willing to like give up some stuff.
Is there a way that I can like replenish my rations?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would like to replenish my rations, and I'd like to know how much gold that's gonna be.
I will
I
also.
mean, you probably gave up like 10 days worth of stuff.
Well, yeah, 10
Mm,
days. It was 10 days worth of rations.
Yeah.
Is what I had. So how much gold would that be?
As you look around, you like walk between different carts, and like nobody sells like a ration kit, so you kind of like have to piece them together by like finding somebody that sells salted pork and finding somebody else that sells like the dry bread and stuff like that.
Okay.
But overall, you do manage to make up the 10 rations for about 2 gold.
Okay.
You feel like you might have gotten it cheaper if you'd gotten to like a major store or something that just had the kits, but
I'd also like to buy 4s, so 10 as well.
did you?
Like 10 days worth of
Okay, yeah,
rations.
so that would be another 2 gold.
Yeah. Okay. Here, 4.
Oh, well, thank you. I was just gonna buy these
Yeah.
myself, but all right.
Well, I mean, I kind of, took them without asking you, and I kind of used them to feed Hoot Hoot. So, I mean, I feel like it's only appropriate that I, pay you back for the kindness that your bag delivered. Yeah?
I mean, I've had
Yeah.
worse things happen to my rations, so
Oh, really?
Preach.
yeah.
Oh. You'll have to tell me that story. We should figure out a place to, stay. Is there, an inn nearby or something?
So, as you look around, you see more carts, some selling like musical instruments, some selling like chess games and stuff like that. You continue to look around. There isn't really many buildings. You do know that if you walked another probably like half a day to a day, you would get to Riv Run, which is, it's not a huge city, but it is a city with an inn and stuff like that. And that's usually where people end up staying in this region.
Are there any
They said the
caravans going there?
Yeah, there's always people going back and forth between Riv Run and the gate.
Okay.
And it takes probably, if you were to walk, it would take you probably about a good like 3/4 of a day to walk there.
Okay, so, I mean, what do we want to do, guys? I mean, besides the fact that it's probably about a day's walk to the closest inn, do we go up, can we access, the hills and stuff, like the forest area?
Yeah, so once you get outside the gate that's here, it's pretty much open field on both sides.
Okay.
A lot of like farming and stuff, so you could easily just kind of like immediately turn right and say screw civilization and just like
Okay.
walk down into the forest if you wanted to.
I mean, what time is it?
It's
the way.
probably, if I remember correctly, you guys crossed at like midday. So it's probably around like 2 in the afternoon. You know that if
Okay.
you walked to Riv Run, you would get there around like 10 p.m.
Okay. So I mean, we have an option where, I mean, at least in my knowledge from being here, we can either go to River Run or walk, and we'd probably get there by nightfall and whatnot, a little bit later than that. Or we could go back to the forest and crash there, but before that, should we go and get supplies or something like that?
I'm
Or
already
anything.
set. Do you guys
Nate?
want to travel the road by ourselves because we'd be a bit more exposed, or do you guys want to go with the group? It might be a bit slower, but it should be a bit more safe.
Make a history check, Kat, by the way.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, history check, got it.
Mm-hmm. Right tab. Okay. So you know that Riv Run as a city isn't like a huge city. It's definitely a town. It's probably like 300 people big that actually
Okay.
like live there. But it's more like a military outpost. It's definitely kind of like how Hobloin is, except Hobloin's a massive city that was a military outpost. This literally just stayed an outpost for the gate. But over time, it's kind of turned into more like a little traveler's. It's like a truck stop kind of place. Inns
River
and
Run.
restaurants, yes.
Or Riv Run.
River Run, yep.
Yeah.
Inns, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. And that's stuff that you remember. Like, you remember specifically eating some of the best sweet rolls you've ever eaten in your life at River Run. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, that kind of stuff
That
is
changed
there.
everything.
Yeah, so you would know that like your character would probably be interested in going back to River Run, not only for the sweet rolls, but just to like camp down. The other option, which all of you can plainly see in front of you as you like walk out of the gate and onto the main road, is essentially what is like a tent city. And it's full of like travelers and adventurers and everything that are like sleeping on either side of the road.
Well, talking about, being spotted and whatnot. Kyler,
Hello.
do you want to kind of fill us in a little bit who your friend was who so graciously let us pass through the gate without seemingly any trouble?
And who speak the sweet roll that she spit in?
Yes, I'd like to also know that as well.
Yes, enlighten us more about your quote-unquote contact.
Childhood friend.
That's
And
it?
now he's part of the... I
Saren
guess you could call
Guard.
them the Saren Guard. You probably don't know what that is, but essentially, for your sake, we can call them the Royal Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he's they're investigating someone who attempted the life of the Duchess.
Wait, somebody
That's why
tried to
there's- someone
assassinate
tried
her?
to assassinate the Duchess
When was this?
a week ago. Luckily for all of you, that's when we met. So you all had a significant alibi, as did I, and that's why we were able to get through with no problem.
Friend, huh? Doesn't really seem like a nice friend.
People aren't nice.
That's why I spat in his sweet roll, sweetie.
Okay.
Okay, Vor. I would...
People aren't nice. But thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I'm gonna be honest. As much as I love the great outdoors,
Mhm.
and would love to spend another night, I vote that we go straight for a river run. Why? Because sweet rolls.
Yes, your character absolutely would. Also, Stisk and Vor, go ahead and make a history check.
Where's... Oh, yeah.
I will admit to you guys that I have no idea about this country. So if you want to go to this place, then we can go to this place.
Okay.
But we shouldn't waste too much time.
So yeah, Stisk,
got
you don't really remember. Vor, you know that the tent city is an option, but it's like, it's kind of rough going. Like, you don't really sleep when you're here because you're always kind of worried about who's sleeping next to you and that kind
In
of stuff.
Riverrun?
And no, in like the tent city outside of the
Oh,
gates.
okay.
Then I
If you were
would
to
be
leave us
all
in a
for the river
caravan.
run.
Yeah,
All
so
for that river run idea.
also, Kyler, just for your knowledge, you would have learned school-wise like the main story behind Valenesca. But you're right. As far as like the countryside and what it looks like and all that kind of stuff, you have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I assume I'd know like the capital and stuff like that, but other than
Yeah,
that,
you know like what the capital is, how the
it's like
politics
my
work.
personal experience of what Georgia is. I don't know anything about it other than
There's a lot of traffic and it gets hot during the summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. All right, so you guys, I guess you push on to River Run.
Yep.
All right.
Do you guys want to take the main road or you guys want to try and take a straight shot there?
Wait,
Just
isn't
take
the main road just a straight shot?
I mean, yeah.
It's curved, kind of.
No, it's pretty much
Hello?
straight. So let me explain a little bit about this map. The dotted lines are like actual main road. They're paved, they're set, they've got like curbs and stuff like that. They're very well patrolled. The little hash mark roads
Off the beaten
are,
path a little bit.
they are. I mean, they're still like upkept roads, but
Footpaths
they're
more?
not. Well, no, they're roads, but they're not paved. They're not
They're just worn in.
patrolled. Yeah.
Like people, it's just worn in. It's like people have consistently like used the path back
Gone
and forth.
back and
so-
forth. Yes.
yeah.
But the
So
road
it's
that you
just
are
worn.
on is as much of a road as you're ever going to see in this type of environment.
Well, to be honest, I usually have had no problem going on the main road. I don't understand why we would want to go any other way. I mean, it's paved, it's nice, and I've never had any trouble crossing it. So I feel like we should go the main road. Why? I mean, I'm not worried about someone spotting me. Are you?
That
I mean, after what happened with the owl bear, not really.
that guard was looking at me rather suspiciously, so something's going down here. Is there
I
anything
mean,
about?
if
That
you would like
guard,
to-
That guard was on the Alexandria side. He was an Alexandrian soldier.
Okay, so it was the other side. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm good. Let's go.
All right. Well, then
If
let's.
anything, we are all much less, you know,
Scrutinized.
outlandish here.
Yeah, like literally, like once you guys cross the bridge and you get onto this side and you're in Balanesca and you're kind of like looking around, all of you immediately could just like breathe easier. Even you,
He
Kyler.
said it was more relaxed.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, he said because Max said that it was just a lot more relaxed on this side, like guards and everything like
Yep.
that. So.
All right, so you guys set out.
Nobody knows me here. I like this place. Let's go.
You guys, again, slowly begin your journey up to Ridrun. It's not that it's necessarily slow or anything like that. It's just you guys don't feel the need to be super quick about anything. You're just walking casually. You pass caravans and travelers on your way. At one point, you pass a bard sitting on top of a, like... It's like a manure cart. Basically, it's like a peddler selling, like, fertilizer and stuff like that. But this bard that's, like, sitting on his cart clearly tricked this man into, like, giving him a free ride because he didn't want to walk anymore. The bard himself is super elegant, like, super, super fancy. In fact...
Garbs, by the way.
Kyler,
like, is there anything?
Go
Is
ahead.
there anything like Is there anything that he's wearing interesting wise, like unique wise, that I would notice from like any of the books that I've read or stuff like that?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So Kyler and Tiny and Stisk, go ahead and roll a history or
History?
insight, whichever's better for you.
Ew!
Wow.
Did he
wow.
roll? Holy crap!
No. Kyler, you've seen this bard before. In Ire, you know that there is like a college, music college in Ire and stuff like that.
Stisk?
Or yeah, sorry, Stisk. Which is from where you're at. So you've seen this guy before. And he's actually like really, really good. He's an extremely good bard. So to you, it's kind of funny to like see him sitting on like a manure cart or whatever. But other than that, nothing like spectacular jumps out. You haven't like seen him in any books or anything, Kat. He does look fancy as fuck though. Like you like his feathered hat. It looks kind of cool. Again, for you, Kyler, you thought you knew or have seen him perform before, but looking at him, you don't, and you kind of just like keep your eyes
He's
on the
just
road.
another dirty bard.
Yeah.
No,
Just a bard from the college.
Is he playing stuff or
No,
what?
he's
sitting.
Yeah, sitting on the road. I mean, he's like strumming on like a lute or a lyre or whatever, like, but it's haphazardly, and he's kind of just like looking out at the cornfields and stuff.
How close is he? Like, can I like? Is he close enough to exchange words? 'Cause, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
on
eventually
four
you'll
shoulders, so I
get.
don't know.
Yeah, eventually you'll like pass the cart as it's passing you, and you'd be able to
Okay.
say something to him if you wanted to. If you want to.
Hey, Mister. Mister. Psst. Mister.
Everybody kind of like. Actually, let me. Yep.
At this point, hearing her start to do that, I'm going to do my best to make sure that she can't be noticed, and it seems like that voice is coming from me.
Right. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm supposed to be noticeable though, because
no,
like
you're
I'm
noticeable. Like your giant buns and
Oh, that's true. I forgot about the buns. Shit.
Yeah.
He turns around and he looks around and he says, "I'm sorry. Did you say something to me?"
Yeah, Mister. You. with the
Yes,
fancy
madam.
hat.
Hold on, George. Yes.
George.
Mm-hmm.
Is he talking to the person?
He's talking to
who's,
the
like,
cart owner, like this old raggedy like.
I mean, they haven't stopped. Like we're still walking, right?
Yeah. You
Or
guys
no?
are like walking past, and he's on the cart, and he's like, "Oh, wait, hold up, George." And George kind of like heels back the horses. He's like a 80 or like a 70-year-old like old farmhand kind of guy who like grumbles when he does it. And,
I like your hat.
oh, I like your buns.
Thank you.
What is your name?
What is your name?
Ishtel.
Ishtel. My name's Tiny.
Roll insight.
Okay.
Or perception,
fuck is my-
whichever is
Or
better.
perception.
Okay. So as
What
you
is
look
with
at
my
him,
shitty
you're
rolls?
fine. It'll be fine. As you look at him, you notice that he is a
Shitty
tiefling.
Okay.
He's kind of a weird tiefling. So you remember your last character, how she was almost human, but she had like the horns and stuff like that. That's kind of what he's got going on. His skin's a little bit redder, but he is fair. Basically, he just looks like he's got a bad tan from working in fields or something. His horns are very like goat horn to the side of his face and stuff like that. But something about the whole look together gives him a very like ruggedly handsome type look.
Okay.
And he says, "Well, Tiny, you look like you've had quite the adventure." And he says, "Are these your friends?"
Yeah, these are my friends. This is Four, and I like pat him on the head.
Hello.
And he like does.
He's
a
probably like
flourish.
my closest one.
Closest friends, yes.
Oh. I'm just gonna smile at that. That just makes me happy.
Is anybody else gonna say anything? Or
No.
No, I'm,
guys just
I'm
forgot.
eyeing him suspiciously.
don't mind these two. They're not very that sociable. And they don't really like talking to strangers. But I do.
Oh, well. It's very nice meeting you. Hopefully we can meet again. I'm on my way to Alexa to hopefully impress somebody. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It's great meeting you. Come on, George, let's go. And he like slaps him on the back of the head.
There's tight security there. Have fun over there.
I don't think he heard you.
I mean, he heard you. He turns around and he looks at you and he's like, because they barely even moved. And he looks at Kyler and he's like, "Oh, well, I thank you, but usually my winning smile gets away." And then he, puts his hat down and kind of walks forward.
Well, that was kind of rude.
What was?
Him.
Kind of
Saying
pompous,
hi,
right?
I'm trying to start a nice conversation. I complimented him on his hat, and he just freaking just left. How
He's got
rude!
places to go.
That's rude.
Days wasting. Let's get a move on.
It's not that we're all walking. He
Yep.
just take a little bit out of his time to have a conversation with a stranger. Is that really so hard?
You want to stick around if you're
He
sitting
even
on a pile
he
of
even said he
manure?
didn't even know what he was doing.
Nope.
Well, obviously not. He's with a cart of manure.
I should have
Yep.
set it on fire. Is what I should have done.
Oh
Rude.
my God.
I don't think any of us would want that smell.
I kind of want to
Nobody.
see that to happen. Yeah, I think we can catch him if we try really hard.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
would
not
prefer
going
this
to.
not happen.
I'm not going to cause any trouble.
I feel like at this point, Vor would just immediately start walking to Rivrun. Like, nope, let's get her away from the
Yeah,
trouble.
No, I woke up to an explosion last time. This ain't happening again.
Vor, did he not talk to me because of how dirty I look?
Does she look dirty?
I mean,
I'm covered in I'm still covered in
Yeah.
fucking owl bear
you
blood.
guys, A, slept in the woods. And most importantly, B, you just fought an encounter with an owlbear, and she, like,
Face
got
planted
as
in the dirt.
snuggly as she could.
That
And
is
she face
fair.
planted.
And I did get pretty snuggly with an owl bear, like pretty much like hugged it. So I mean,
Yeah, you're pretty
I'm pretty
gross.
sure I look pretty dirty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Kyler. What's your word for tieflings?
Oh,
You
oh,
have not-
we're-
Kyler, you have not seen very many tieflings. That was a weird sight for you. That might be the first one you've ever seen, like, in person.
Or is it because I smell? I
No, it's
smell,
not
don't
because
I?
you I mean,
What do you
She
think?
I have
smells.
no sense of smell, so I can't confirm that.
I mean,
What
you
do you mean
do.
you have no sense of smell?
She
I have
totally
no
smells.
sense of smell.
Would
You-
I have known about like his kind to
yeah,
like know?
you
that they have
100%
good sense
know.
of-
Like, yeah.
yeah.
You know that he's a lizard and lives most of his life through smell.
Yeah.
Oh, I myself do.
I
not
know you're
actually
trying to
have a
make me
sense of
feel
smell.
better. I know you're trying to make me feel better, but that doesn't help. Okay.
I mean, I wasn't.
I'm very knowledgeable about your race. Okay. You don't need to lie to me.
I mean, I'm not, but it's okay. But no, it wasn't because your smell. He's probably just busy. People tend to be quick to brush off others when they're in the middle of going somewhere or in the middle of doing something.
yeah, so you guys continue to move forward. Eventually night does fall. The road kind of like thins out a little bit. It's not as busy or anything like that. And then you do eventually get to River Run. Like I said, it's a military outpost more than anything else, and it acts as like a resupply point for the river gate and a checkpoint. You would remember, Tiny, that the guards here are a little bit more stern than they are anywhere else in the kingdom. But that's more so a, like, if anybody, like, criminal-wise or anything like that's going to come here from anywhere else, it's going to be here. So they kind of, like, try to snuff it out here when they can. The small population is a direct result of its original intention. So not a lot of people live here unless they're tied to the military in some way, or they've decided to like set up an inn here or something. But it is common to see wizards practicing types of like war magic, and there's rows and rows of fighters practicing their craft like off into the distance in a field that they have set up. You can see archers on top of like wooden palisade walls and stuff like that. So as you walk forward, you get to the first wall, and it is a wooden palisade wall. So kind of like the wooden sticks with like the spiky points at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You guys walk through that, and then immediately after that is a stone wall. It's not super like ornately done. It's not nearly as well crafted as hobloins or anything like that, but it is very structurally sound. And then once you get through that stone wall, you're inside like the little city square area.
Okay. What do we see, like, besides just a square? Like, do we see, like, a tavern? Do we see...
As you walk in, go ahead and throw that investigation check. Anybody who wants to. Or
What about perception?
Yeah, perception's fine. Hey.
I see everything.
Jesus
I
Christ.
see into the future.
I see everything.
So, Tiny, at this point, your mind's kind of focused. Like, you're like, all right, where was that inn? Which one was it? So you're kind of like trying to focus in on that. Eventually, you do find it. Kyler, you are taking in as much as possible. You didn't really think you'd ever come to Valenesca. So for you, it's cool to see. You notice that like I said, most of the buildings are wood made. These ones are not as ornate as the ones in the gate. They seem to be more hastily thrown together by people that didn't really understand how buildings were put together at the time. And then they've been like slowly improved. So it kind of like leaves patchwork buildings and stuff everywhere. You notice the guards. You notice the fact that all of the like able-bodied men in this town seem to be of some type or form working for Valnes's military. You notice, you're the one that notices off in the distance that like training area, and you watch as this like, you can only assume some type of wizard brings down like essentially what looks like a meteor in from the sky down onto like the field, and you see like fire and crackling and this like purple energy like falling from it as it like burns up these hay bales and stuff that he was targeting to make sure that he could target it. So you're the one that notices that. Vorag, again, you're kind of just looking around. When you traveled, you went through the forest and up through the river gate. You didn't really walk on the main road. Mm-hmm. So all this kind of stuff is pretty much just new to you. So you're kind of like touristing around. You notice the smells and the sights, and you can smell the cooking, and you can hear like the laughing and stuff like that. Basically, you're just like having a good time, enjoying the moment, you know. Shid, you are kind of trying to find like the best places to hide and stuff like that. You've never been here, and because of the way you are and the things that you've done in the capital, you're not necessarily super fond of the overly military presence here. So you're kind of just like trying to low key. Not that you're scared or anything, but like the smaller the presence, the better is how you figure it, you know?
Yep.
Four. I'm like tapping his head. Four. That inn. Right there. The tavern. Right there. That's the one. Go.
Okay. Then,
We gotta go.
Okay, to the end we
Guys,
go.
we will see you later. We're going into that one. What is the name of it?
It's the Greenleaf.
The Greenleaf. We will
Yes.
meet you in there.
You guys watch as Vor and Tiny walk off into the distance towards what looks like a busy inn. It's the one that most of the smells are wafting into the street from and stuff like that. And you can see like people constantly walking in and out of the door. The door is just straight strapped open. By the way, it's nice here. It's like a cool 68, 70 degrees. And like there's a slight breeze going through. It's like the perfect summer night type weather.
21 Celsius for anyone with real temperature.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot there's people in our chat that don't use fruited mutes. All right. Does anybody else do anything other than Vor and...
Did I see any stores that are still open at this time?
You don't notice any hard ground stores. You do see a lot of traveling carts. And you get the impression that during the morning hours, you could probably catch most of these people pedaling whatever they were traveling with.
When I saw all those people training, how far away were the fighters and all that?
The fighters and stuff are inside the barracks area, so that's probably within 200 to 300 feet from you, in the main building, the biggest building made out of stone, the one that was clearly built here for a purpose. And then the field with the wizard and stuff that you saw is another 500 feet out behind that, not surrounded by anything. So they can get away with doing things like calling a meteor out of the sky.
All right, I'm gonna head into the end then.
Yep. Following.
Also, what type of store are you looking for? Just like a general store or what?
Yeah, general store,
Okay.
and then if they had any weaponry stores or anything like that.
You do notice that there is a smith, but it's attached to that main building. But there are people in what you would assume commoner clothes walking away from it as you walk into the inn. So you get the impression that you could probably go there for any type of weaponry questions or concerns that you had.
All right, we just follow him.
Okay. 1 second.
Grab a drink real quick. Beer.
Yep. So yeah, you guys walk into the inn. It takes them a couple seconds to follow you in. So Vor and Tiny, what do you guys do as you walk into the door? As you guys walk in, you look around. Tiny, you're home. You're super excited. The smells hit you right directly in the face.
Give me a minute.
Yep. You stayed here for probably a week, just not wanting to leave. You blew through most of your money here. You remember that the person that runs the inn is a dwarf named Helga.
Mm-hmm.
And that she's super friendly, and she would always sit and chat with you for hours and hours and stuff like that. You know that there's plenty of rooms available all the time. They do have a bath house type thing in the back. But mostly you care about Helga's food.
Yeah.
So as you walk in, you're looking around.
Walk in there. I'm okay, Vor. I was I need you to keep an eye out for a dwarf, okay? Actually,
Okay.
better yet, I got an idea. I want to cast minor illusion, and I want to make my I want to make my voice very, very loud, like
Mhm.
I am
Oh,
talking
boy.
out of a microphone. And I would like to go. Her name is Helga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I would like to shout, "Helga, Tiny's home!"
As you do that, immediately, everybody in the inn just kind of stops. And they all stare at you for a minute.
Hi. Who's seen Helga?
And then they all just kind of turn around and go back to their normal food or whatever. And then you see this Vor, you see her actually. Tiny probably sees her first because she's sitting up on your shoulders.
There.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah. She sees this little dwarf, blonde hair. She's got her hair in braids and stuff down on her shoulders. And she's kind of walking through the crowd. She, even though she's small, has no problem splitting the crowd around her. She kind of walks up to you and she's like, "Tiny, my dear, ooh."
Helga!
You're very
Vor,
high.
can you? Vor, put me down. Put me down.
Okay, I put down Tiny.
Yep.
And I go up and I give her a big hug.
She absolutely hugs you back, like bone crushingly hard hugs you. And she's like,
Helga, I miss you so much. I missed you so much. How are you?
and she like lets you go and she looks at you. She like holds you out at arm's length or whatever. And she's like, you stink. Please go take
I'm
a bath
sorry.
for me
Please.
for free.
Okay, thank you.
I'll bring you a sweet roll.
Yay!
Like,
Wait,
high
can
laugh.
I, Helga, can I eat the sweet roll in the bath?
Yes, absolutely,
Yes!
my dear.
Okay.
And
Before I forget.
Yep.
This is Vor. And I like tug his
mhm,
pants. This
and
is
she
Vor.
looks at him, yeah.
He's a really, really, really good friend of mine. And yeah, he's why I'm so tall.
Mm,
Okay, Vor, I'm going to leave you with Helga. Be nice to
Okay.
her. She's a very nice lady. I'm gonna go take a bath.
Yep. And
Okay.
she like kind of like steps to the side, and you guys watch as Tiny like runs off into the back. Vor, she looks at you and she's, oh well, it's nice to see that somebody is traveling with her. I always get kind of worried that she's going to. Well, have you seen her use magic?
That depends. Did I watch a unicorn jump off a roof?
Yes. You've seen some bad things happen because of her magic.
So yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Have seen the magic.
So she looks at you and goes, yeah. So anyways, it's nice to see that she's got somebody. And she
Yeah,
like
she
brings
got
you to a
more than-
table and sits you down.
All right.
And at this point in time, Kyler and, I mean, you guys would have come in right as Tiny was being like crushed to death by the door. So Kyler would have followed with you, Vor, and sat down at the table next to you and stuff like that. And Helga will turn around and look at you and say, oh, are you one of those knights from Alexandria? And she kind of like winks at you when she says it.
I will respond to her in Dwarven. No, ma'am,
Nice.
I'm not. But it's a pleasure to meet you.
When you respond to her in Dwarven, her face kind of like flushes red and stuff like that. And she says in Dwarven, she's like, oh. Well, she just says, oh. And she's like, well, you're very nice all the same. And that was in Dwarven. And then she turns to Vor and she's like, is there anything that I can get for you before I fetch Tiny Horse Sweet Roll?
I would like one of your largest flagons of some of your strongest ale, please.
Certainly. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. What was your name? And she points at Kyler.
My name's Kyler. I'm also traveling with your good friend Tiny.
Oh, well, it's great to meet you, Kyler. My name's Helga, and she holds out her little tiny gnome hand, or dwarf hand.
I will take her hand and I'll kiss the back of it.
Oh my god.
She's done.
Damn.
You,
She-
Damn.
She's immediately like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have the charisma for that?
Yeah, he 100% does. She like takes her hand back and she like holds it to her chest and she's like, right. And she looks at Sisk and she's like, I'll be back. And she just like walks into the back room.
God damn.
I'll turn to Vor and I'll wink at him.
I'll just shake my head and just go back to looking over the bar and listening, just spacing basically.
Mm-hmm. Both of you, actually all three of you, if Sis is back, I don't know who he is.
Yep. Sorry,
okay.
I somehow got soda on my laptop and I had to clean it up.
Ooh, gross. All right.
Oh.
Everybody, all three of you guys, go ahead and roll perception. Kyler thinking about that dwarf booty. Shit is too, and so is Vor apparently. God, guys.
Wow, guys.
I
Um,
My
wasn't thinking about
good
the
friend
dwarf booty, but
Helga.
I'm not very smart, so you know.
You're objectifying my friend.
I'm not.
Kyler is. I mean, he
Excuse
was.
me, I'm just
To
getting
be
a
fair,
discount.
he was objectified first. So.
You don't even need to get. You don't even need to try to get a discount.
That's true. We don't.
So you guys, as you're sitting there, Vor will tell you that Tiny went to go take a bath. You guys sit and
Sweet
listen.
rolls.
Yeah, you don't hear any like major conversation. Everybody kind of is like talking and like nobody's like loud or belligerent or anything like that. There's a couple drunk people, but even they're not like they're kind of like drunk into their own glass, and they're not being like loud or obnoxious or anything like that. Kyler, as you look around, this is the most diverse group of people you've ever seen in one place. You're not unused to different races, but places like Closehaven it's literally just humans and dwarves. You're used to dwarves 100%, and in fact you find comfort being around dwarves, but like here it's elves and half orcs, and like you think you see a goblin like sitting on a stool somewhere, and it's kind of like freaking you out a little bit. You're super out of your element at this point, but at the same time it's kind of like interesting to you, like in a studious type of way. How you
I'm in a foreign country.
Well, yeah, and how you've always grown up is, even though the racism issues and like the Inquisition and all that kind of stuff has stopped in Alexandria long ago, it's always kind of been the opinion that this would never work, that this many types of races would never be able to get along without burning down the building. You know what I mean? So like, for you to sit here and see it and everybody be completely friendly, and it probably be the friendliest inn you've ever been in, is like an interesting studious thought to you. Stisk and Vor, you guys are kind of just like sitting there enjoying the table, waiting for Helga to come back, hopefully with some food, but definitely with the ale.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing anything else?
I'm going to ask for a deck of cards, and I am going to elbow Vor and be like, we should get a game going.
It would... Do either of the three of you have a deck of cards?
I
One of
don't.
you would probably have a playing deck, to be honest.
I probably would.
I do not.
Okay.
It would have no reason to have such a thing.
There's no reason why you wouldn't have a playing deck, to be honest.
I'm going to bring out the cards, and I'm going to show me, like, game.
I will decline because I'm not the smartest not the smartest bard in the college.
I'm not
yet,
smarter than your average bear.
I am not smarter than your average hoot hoot, no.
Then I'm going to show him to Kyle and be like, game, I bet I'm better at you at it.
I'm sure you've gambled plenty.
None of you are any fun.
As this is
Are there
going
any
on,
empty tables?
There are some empty tables, yeah. As this is going on, Tiny, you are sinking yourself into steaming hot water. You've talked to her before about how this is done, and you know that she hired a couple mages from Delft a long time ago to like do this kind of like eternal steam thing underneath the bath, and it keeps this water like super hot, and even when she changes it out with fresh water from the cistern, it immediately heats up basically.
Okay.
So to you it's kind of like a novelty to even do this because like there's magic involved, you know.
Yeah.
But you like sink down, you immediately relax all of your muscles, everything. Like the knot that's still kind of in your throat from hoot hoot and stuff like that, like immediately starts to loosen, and like you immediately feel a million times better. About 10 minutes after you sit down and you like start relaxing or something like that, Helga walks in. She go ahead and roll insight.
Okay. Wait a second. Insight. Boop.
Okay. As she as she puts down the tray, it's got a couple sweet rolls on it and like a little tea for you. Her face is flushed, but you can't really make out. Like it might just be she's busy like running back and forth. And she's like, "Well, dear, I'm gonna go see to your friends. Enjoy your bath." And she kind of like bustles out the door and closes it behind her.
What? Bye, Helga. Bye.
And then she walks back into the room. About another couple minutes pass for you guys, and she sets down again like that half-gallon of ale in front of you. It smells strong. It looks really good. She sets down a normal like pint for you, Kyler, and she does bring food. It's actually beef. They're not like the best cut steaks or anything in the world, but they do look nice, and there's potatoes with it. stuff like that. And she brings a plate out for Stisk as well. And then she's like, I wasn't sure what you would like to drink, sir. Talking to Stisk. What would you have?
I point at Vor. What Vor has.
The same size.
Yeah.
Certainly. And then she kind of
in response to that, I'll down the whole thing and then lightly put the cup down and go, 2 more, please.
Constitution save.
I will do that.
Fall off
Christ.
the bar. Fall off the bar.
Dope.
We're at a table, not a bar.
You feel real
Right.
tipsy. You haven't had alcohol like that in a little while.
That's
And this ale is not like, oh, it's just some ale. This is like some dwarven made real
That's
ale. So like you tip
I
it back
was
and
so
you're like, 2 more, please. And she's like, right, 2 more. And then she like walks off. As she walks off, she looks at yes.
I have a curious question for you.
She
Have
speaks to
seen
you
any-
directly in dwarven, by the way.
Yeah, I'm speaking to her in Dwarven.
Okay.
Have you seen any half elves that have come in here recently?
My ears perk when he says that.
No,
I'm
they
speaking
don't.
Dwarven.
Do you speak Dwarvish?
We never got over to what languages we were supposed to know. Because I should know
Probably
if
don't.
You
Uh,
don't. I can almost
okay.
guarantee you. You would
mind.
speak
But I would
Elvish and Common. And then Thieves can't.
Okay.
And I think you probably have one more. I would not count Dwarvish as
That's
one of them. So he like, as you say that, she kind of looks at you funny and she's like, oh honey, look around. And she like points to like the rest of the inn. And as you like take a second, you realize that there's probably like 10 half elves in the tavern.
I'm more interested in any of them who may have been in a rush or seeming distressed at all.
And she looks at you and says, I wish I could help you find whoever you're looking for, but everybody here is in a rush or stressed about their wares or wants to relax or really anything. I see so many people in a day, I couldn't tell you. You're the first unforgettable face I've had in a long time.
Oh, sorry about that.
Ooh.
I'll wink to her when she says that,
Mhm.
and then I'll
Immediate blush.
Oh my god.
lean forward and just be like, just be careful. There's a dangerous one that has been running from Alexandria.
And she like starts to walk away and then she kind of winks at you and she's like, I'm sure you'll take care of me. And then she like walks back into the back of the bar.
God damn.
Blech.
She's not even.
About
Hey, it's my personality trait.
it is. It's his one. It's the one thing he's got going for him. We've got to let Delahan have one thing. Eventually she does kind of like walk back into the bar, or back into the main tavern area. She's, like harassed by some of the patrons, like, hey, more ale, more this or whatever. And she hurries up and does what they need. And then she does set everything back down on the table. She does bring you 2 more. Go ahead and roll perception with disadvantage for.
Oh.
Dope. Okay. She brings you 2 more cups and puts them in front of you, and you can't really tell the difference, so you're good as rain. Stisk and Kyler, you notice that they're like pint-sized glasses and not like the half-gallon ones at all. And then she puts the half-gallon one in front of Stisk, and she says, well, I've got a bunch of stuff to do really quickly. I'll hopefully talk to you soon. And she kind of like...
Can I get a smaller glass?
You just asked for that size. That's why I asked you.
Yeah, I want this one empty.
Sure. And she like runs off to the bar and brings back another one, and it's just an empty cup, basically.
I'm gonna fill one of my water flasks, one of my water pouches with that, an empty one.
Okay. And then she immediately storms off into the back where you guys saw Tiny earlier. Tiny, she does bring you another 2 like little sweet rolls. They're not very big, so you immediately inhale basically any of the sweet rolls she brings you, but they're like heavenly. And she sits down next to you in the bath and begins to like brush out your hair and stuff for you. And she says, well, how have you been?
I've been pretty good, Helga. Some pretty crazy stuff happened. First, I met all these people in a tavern, and then there was this weird zombie ghoul thingy, and then it like ate this woman, and I like picked up a dead bloody arm,
What?
and
Ew.
then the other woman cried, and we're supposed to find this like red ivy keep thingy, and we helped an old man, and I summoned a unicorn on a roof, and I shot fire down a chimney, and I blinded people, and then I forgot who I was, and then we saved an owlbear from some goblins, and then the owlbear almost killed me, but that's okay because now we're friends. And we healed it, and it's back to normal. And then we went through the forest adventuring, and the owlbear followed me, and then I gave it all my rations and even Vor's rations, and then we befriended it, and then I really wanted to keep it, and then Kyler said no, and then I cried a lot, and yeah, now we're here.
You're friends with the owlbear.
Yeah, name is Hoot Hoot.
Oh, honey, of course it is. And what about this bloody arm? That's gross. That's probably why you look so disgusting.
No, it was because I told Vor to throw me, and he threw me at the owlbear, but he missed, and I ended up place panning into the ground.
I can see. And she begins to like scrub your face for you because you haven't done it.
But Helga, listen. So get this. I did magic. I did magic to kill a ghoul, and it worked.
I'm sorry. It worked as in the magic went off.
Yeah, like as in I intended it that way. Like no side effects. Nothing.
Oh. And she's like, "Well, that's really good, honey. You're finally able to do it then. Have you broken it completely?"
No.
Oh.
I've been noticing that if I try like certain spells, it kind of triggers it. But I mean, I can cast the other spells that don't trigger it, and then I'll be okay. But I have to be really careful about triggering my other one. I'm hoping that it'll break, and I was trying to test it, and it kind of goes planned. I kind of confused myself. But
did you forget who you were again?
Yeah, but it was okay. It only lasted like a couple minutes.
And
really scary,
this conversation goes on for probably, like 20, 30 minutes. She undoes your buns. She like brushes out your hair, gets like the little twigs and tiny leaves and stuff that were in your hair. Like she plucks out a couple owl feathers.
Don't get rid of those feathers. Those are from Hoot Hoot.
And she kind of just like gingerly sets them to the side as she looks at you a little weird, and then just continues to like brush out your hair. She's very, very, very motherly with you. Like an older sister type thing. An older sister that actually gets along with her younger sister. And she like helps you scrub your face off and stuff like that. And then eventually your bath is done. You're pretty clean. She helps you get up and like put your stuff back on and stuff like that. And she's like, "Well, I assume you're staying again? How long are you going to be here?"
I don't know. It's kind of whatever the group wants to do. I'm going to be traveling with them. We're on an adventure to find Red Ivy, or the Red Ivy. The Order of the Red Ivy. Yeah. Have you heard of them?
Well, I mean, only passerby people, like people that say they've worked for them or are working for them, but...
Really?
Yes. I mean, I meet everybody here. Well, they're the rough adventurer types. So
like me and my group, huh?
Yes, exactly like you. And then
Did they say where they're camped at? Like,
well, no, they never talk about it. I think it's somewhere here. There's so many of them run through this area. I'm sure they're around here somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And then she like gives you a hug, and then she's like, "All right, well, let's bring you to the rest." And you guys watch as like Helga and Tiny eventually walk back in, probably about another 30 minutes later. Tiny looks way better. She's not covered in blood anymore. She doesn't have dirt all over her face, anything like that. Her buns are freshly done, so they're all like tight together and stuff like that.
Tight buns.
When she gets back to the table, I would like to gingerly fluff one of the buns with one of my hands.
Vor! Just slap his hand. What have I told you about asking before touching? We've been over this.
I can't help it. They're so soft.
No touchy.
Okay.
How many feathers does she have?
How many feathers
Why?
does she have?
Yeah, how many feathers does she have?
I mean, there was like a couple little down feathers, which weren't that big or whatever, that she probably picked up and put in her bag. She's got like 3 large plume feathers, like feathers you would put in a hat.
Okay, I'm gonna give her one of the ones that I stole, and I'm gonna say you were off center.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah.
What did Helga give you? Did
I-
she give,
Who is
did
she,
she
who
give
is she
you?
talking to?
Did you get some of the ale?
It's in a water skin. I'm using that for later.
Oh. Okay.
Vor, go ahead and roll another con check.
I can do that.
So you're still about the same. Like you're pretty like, your head's a little swimmy. You're not like super drunk or anything like that.
I'm just happily buzzed.
Yeah. And as she says that, you look at her and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Helga has like the best ale, like in this whole entire town. Like I can't have more than one mug because it's just like it's too strong. So Helga, can we get 2 over here, 1 for Vor and I, please? And can I get another sweet roll, please?
Would Tiny have noticed the 3 empty cups in front of me?
Yeah, probably.
Would she have noticed that they were different sizes?
Yes, most definitely.
Would I have known that they were Vor's in the first place, or were they
They're
just
like
in
in
the
front
middle
of
the table?
him.
Oh, okay. No, I just
mean-
ignore it.
Yeah. And she goes off and brings it back, and then she's like, well, I understand that you guys will be staying here for the night. No charge. And she kind of looks at Kyler and winks. Tiny, roll perception with advantage.
Okay. How do I roll with advantage?
You just use both
You get
numbers,
both rolls.
whichever one is higher. Okay, so you notice the wink and like the little blush at Kyler as she says that. And she's like, so yeah, no charge tonight or anything like that. You guys, you can have the big room at the end of the hall upstairs, Tiny. Feel free to go to bed whenever you'd like. I need to tend to the other customers. And she kind of like
Thank you, Helga.
turns around.
I'll finish off my food and then I'll stand up and I'll head for the baths.
Whoa. Where the fuck do you think you're going?
As soon as Tiny stops him, I'm gonna go and take a bath before he does.
I'm
I
just
was
gonna
going
laugh.
to go take a bath.
You need to sit your shiny armored butt down, mister.
What?
What was that?
What was what?
I saw that. That little winky flicking thing you just did to Helga, and
No, she
Like,
did it to
she fucking blushed so fucking red.
You winked at
I
me,
have
though.
never seen her that red before.
That's
She
true.
looked like
you
she was in the sun, like all day. Maybe for like a week or so. What did you do?
I just complimented her on her ladiness.
On her ladiness?
Ladiness.
Her ladiness?
Her
What is that supposed to mean? Were you courting her?
No.
I'll have you know that not anyone can date Helga or have her hand. I will let you know. And if there is any such talk going on, you're gonna have to answer to me. Got it?
I'm sure Helga is more than capable of making her own decisions.
She is like a sister to me. And I will make sure that she has the best man take her hand.
Are you suggesting I'm not a good man?
I mean, sweetie, let's be honest.
Oh, my
Okay.
Let's be honest. Hoot saved Hoot Hoot.
He
Who
did do that.
was an exception? But let's be honest. You are pretty clumsy, and the first time I did meet you was you fell on your face when you entered into the tavern. So, yeah.
Don't forget the gauntlet.
Oh, yeah, and the gauntlet.
So, what
So,
does drunk
like
me
I
think of
said-
all this?
Drunk
If
you is trying
anybody-
not to listen to them argue because it's going to
If-
kill your buzz.
anyone is going to have her hand as
You,
not
I know.
you. No, it's not you. What did I just say? She's like my sister. You be nice to her, okay?
I have been nothing but nice and pleasant to her. You can ask
No,
her.
not the nice as in complimenting her ladiness, whatever that means. I'm watching you. Leave her
All I did
alone.
was speak Dwarven to her and respect her establishment because she's your friend.
And you see as she says, "I'm watching you," you see like the little gnome hand do the eye thing where she like points at her eyes and points at yours.
You better be careful, otherwise you might have some pigtails in your pillow tonight.
Didn't you give all your food-like substances to Hoot Hoot?
Helga keeps a jar of them in the back of her pantry for me.
Strange. I'm not gonna ask why.
So yeah, Stisk, you do go to the bath. There is like a side, so there's like a boy side and a girl side, and it's basically like a public bath type situation. You sink down, and again, as soon as you hit the water, you immediately relax. Like all your muscles, everything. There's something about it that's just like resets your whole mind. You know what I mean?
Feel rejuvenated.
Yeah. And yeah, everything that you described. So, you do the bath. You don't take very long or anything like that. You soak for a couple minutes, and then you fix up your hair. You put on your nice set of clothes that were in your pack, and then you join the rest. As this is happening, Kyler walks past you and into the bath.
I'm gonna try to sneak by Kyler to not have him see that it's actually me, and
Stealth.
try to get out being unnoticed. Okay. Where did I put? Oh, that's the wrong button.
Perception with advantage, Kyler, as you know that he was the one that just went into the bath. Yep. He notices it's you, and he notices that you're in different clothes.
I'm gonna say shut up, and I'm just gonna walk away.
Why don't you wear this clothes all the time? You look much more presentable.
I said shut up.
You just watch as Kyler kind of like shakes his head and walks into the bath. Kyler, you take your time, sit in the bath, soak. This is the nicest experience you've had since you've left. And you definitely take the time to enjoy it. You kind of like, do you do anything in the bath? Do you meditate on anything?
No, I'm just gonna enjoy the bliss steamy bath.
Mm-hmm.
Relax.
All
Enjoy a luxury while I can.
All right, yeah. You probably spent about a good like 45 minutes just like soaking and taking the time to like pick at your nails and get all the gunk out and all that kind of stuff. Vor, do you do anything else other than drink?
Well, how dirty am I?
I mean, you're dirty, but it's kind of like you're scaly, so it's very easy for you to kind of like brush dirt and stuff off. It's not as like noticeable for you. I mean, you could use to take a bath, but your character would also know that it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, then at that point, I'm just gonna probably continue to enjoy my buzz and just chill out.
Yep. So about 45. Actually, both you and Tiny roll perception with advantage.
Okay.
Okay, both of you notice your friend Stisk in completely different clothes with his hair done up, leaving the bath area and walking out into the middle of the tavern.
Hey, look at Mr. Fancy Pants over there.
I wonder what's up with the new clothes.
He looks almost like a noble. He could probably pass as one just as long as he didn't open his mouth.
I'm drunk. I'm gonna bust up laughing at him. Big old loud, happy laughter.
Stisk, you don't really hear what they're saying. Are you going back to the table, or are you walking into like the main tavern area, or what?
I'm gonna leave. Well, no, no. I'm gonna go to the main tavern area.
Yeah. So you like walk into the crowd. You don't really hear them talking about you or anything like that. And so what are we doing in the main tavern?
Card game.
Okay. Yeah, so there's an empty table. You sit down on the empty table. You like bring out the deck of cards. Eventually somebody does sit down and say, what are we doing to... What are we playing?
Blackjack, I think.
Okay. Yeah, 21 or blackjack.
Okay, 21.
Says, sure.
I get out a silver piece.
And he pulls out a silver piece and puts it down.
All right.
Are you attempting to cheat, yes or no?
No.
Okay. Then roll a... Let's just do it this way. Roll a d20. You win. So he slides the silver piece over to you as you get like a, natural 21.
Jesus.
And he slides
Wow.
that silver piece over to you. And he's
All right,
like,
I put-
go again. He puts another silver piece down on the table.
Okay.
And then he slides it back to
Alright.
you again. And he's like,
How long have you
again.
been in this town? Hopefully you're not staying here for very long.
And then he throws a gold piece down.
Okay, switch to gold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
So you're not cheating at least. And he takes the 2 gold pieces.
Okay, I bring out 2 more gold pieces.
Oh boy.
And he leaves his 2 gold pieces down on the table.
Don't have to cheat. I take them back.
He throws the 2 gold pieces at you and he says, yeah, likely. And he kind of like stands up and walks away. Thoroughly defeated and out of 2.
God
Oh.
damn it.
It wasn't much conversation. Anybody here want to try their hand at besting me at cards? And I tap the gold pieces.
Yeah. Eventually another man sits down. You know what? Let's do it this way. I was going to have it another way, but we're going to do it this way. Another man sits down. He is a half Goliath. Well, he's not a half Goliath. He is a Goliath. He's a huge dude. He has like a gray toned skin. He's got marks on his face. Probably the biggest dude you've ever seen. He's as big as Vor is, for sure. Nick, you can go ahead and unmute.
Oh boy.
I'll play.
Shit.
Do you know how to play?
Yeah. It's a common game.
Okay.
Um,
So it's just me and the Goliath?
Yep, you're just both sitting down at the table.
I look at gold or silver.
Put a gold piece down.
Okay, gold.
And then it's the same rules, just the d20.
Nope, that's not right at all.
I hand over the gold piece then.
All right, I put the 2 gold pieces and I tap them and I say, "How long are you staying in town for? Hopefully not too long."
Just passing on by. I just walk up to the table and go to the bar.
Will no one play cards with me?
At this
tap
point,
the gold
everybody,
on the
everybody kind of looks at you and just goes back to drinking.
Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3 pieces of gold.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna leave.
Okay. Do you go to like do anything else or?
Nope. I'm gonna pick up all the gold first to make sure that I don't leave that.
Okay. All right. At this point, Kat and Vor, go ahead and roll perception. Also, Kyler, you're walking out of the bath at this point. Are you doing anything else? Are you going straight upstairs? Do you sit back down at the table?
I sit back on the table.
Go ahead and roll perception.
Fucking hate my rolls so much today.
Yeah.
All rolls have been pretty bad, other than the 20 for gambling.
I know.
Both you and Vor, do you take like a moment to like actually pay attention to what's going on in the tavern at this point? And you do, for the second time, Kyler, you do notice a Goliath sitting at the bar. It struck you as odd the first time. This time you're actually like taking a good look at him. You can see like the tattoos and all this kind of stuff, and it's interesting for you. You've never seen anybody like this. You're not even sure like if he's a human or an orc or what he is.
I'm gonna stand up and walk over to him.
Yep.
Your finest ale, please. Talking to the barkeep.
Yeah, and Helga will slide you probably another glass of ale. I'm gonna say, certainly, and then she'll look at Kyler and blush, and then continue working.
I'll wink at her again, and then I will like sit next to the Goliath. if
Do I
there's any
see that?
space.
That he winks at her. Roll.
Yes.
Roll perception.
Oh, please.
Oh, trade at 20.
Oh,
Ah!
Oh, you don't. I mean, he's not like his. You saw the back of his head as he was walking up to the bar, so.
Mm-hmm.
You do see Helga kind of get red in the face when he walks up to her, but that's about it.
Excuse me, sir, or if you're actually, I've never seen you before. You're whatever you are before.
Ooh, me?
Wow.
Yes. What are you?
I'm a Goliath.
You would know, Nick, that the Goliath tribes, the few that are still existent, are all in the wilds. And it's super rare for a Goliath to walk in quote unquote civilized territories. So it doesn't surprise you that he's asking you these questions or anything like that.
You don't appear to be a part of any sort of castle architecture, but okay.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you see where I'm from, the Goliaths are usually these statues to make your castle look more, strong. But that's besides the point.
Roll history, Dullahan.
I'm just making shit up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and you don't know what the fuck a Goliath is.
God damn.
Well, his Goliath, right?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
Goliath, yeah.
Just not.
You just take it. You're just like, as he continues to drink his drink and not even look at you.
So, what brings you here then? If I'm just curious, I've never seen your Goliath brethren, and it seems strange that if they are a rarity, why would you be here?
That's fair. This is the first person that's talked to you with any like actual nicety other than Helga the barkeep since you've been walking around Valnesca. Granted, you've been walking around the wild part of Valnesca, but still.
Well, I'm no longer part of my tribe, so just been wandering.
Ah, tribal, I see. Do these tattoos have any sort of significance?
Do I know that?
Four.
I mean, it's usually kind of like
The
rite of
thing that they're
passage. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Am I able to see him at the bar, sitting at the bar? For how tall he is?
Actually, yes. When you walked, like when Kyler walked up, you followed Kyler's eyes to make sure he wasn't fucking with Helga.
Okay. And
so
I
you would
this
see him
giant
sitting
dude,
next
right?
to this giant ass dude. Yeah.
Four. And I'm like slapping his arm. Four.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god. Look at that guy. He's so tall. He's probably taller than you. I bet you could probably still take him, right?
How tall are you,
I
Vor?
mean, I'm 7'4".
I think Xander is taller than you.
No.
No. About the same height?
6'9".
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey.
But I mean, it could be that.
Pure muscle, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fairly muscular.
As you spiked a gnome.
Yeah, but do you see him? Like, do you see the size of his arms? They're the size of my buns!
Do I take?
My buns are
Yep.
pretty big.
Am I drunk enough at this point to take any of what she's mentioning as a challenge?
Roll another Constitution save.
Oh boy. Constitution. Yep, I
Yep.
am drunk enough.
Here we go.
Vor.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could fucking take more ale than that dude? That guy, than that giant over there, I should say. Not dude.
You would consider
how
him
many
a
drinks in
giant.
at this point? I'm 3 drinks in at this point. Then
You're like 4 drinks in, because Tiny bought you another one.
then I guess I would, in fact, think, yeah, I could do that, and I'm gonna go do that.
Whoa, let's go over there. Let's go over there.
All right, so you guys get up and walk towards Kyler and Xander.
I don't
having
have
this
him pick
conversation.
me up. I don't have him pick me
No,
up.
you
Like
guys
I
just
walk.
yeah.
The tattoos are just a rite of passage for our tribe.
It's like a you've become a man kind of thing. Like a bar mitzvah with tattoos.
Interesting. And then I'll like turn around and see stumbling lizard face and Tiny walking over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, this is Tiny. This is Vor. I'm Kyler. And your name is?
A guy who's about to get out-drinked by my friend Vor.
The name's Xandar.
How's
At this
that?
point,
Hold on, Tiny. Roll a performance check real quick.
Oh boy. A performance check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tiny is like the Flava Flav of the group at this point. Just like standing in the back, like, yo, you don't even know. She's like, Helga,
she's my
Helga,
hype man.
biggest ale you've got.
Helga, can we start a drink off? Please. I know the last one cost you a couple of tables, but I repaid you.
She's like,
Can
if
we do another one?
anything is broken,
I'll pay it back.
she kind of
And
like
Vor will
stares
help.
at you for a minute, and she just
Vor will help.
like,
Right, Vor?
Yeah, sure.
and then she like sets down 2 giant things, one next to Xander and one next to Vor. And she
All right.
stands up on like a stool and she's like, everybody, apparently we're going to have another competition.
All right, hold on. I
then-
get up on the fucking bar with
This
her.
is a challenge.
Get
Stisk.
on fucking the
Oh,
bar with her,
boy.
and I walk up to Xander.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you. What's your name again? What's your name? Hi, I'm Tiny.
You are Tiny.
No, my name is Tiny.
Oh. Fitting.
Now, what's your name?
The name's Xandar.
Pleased to meet you, Xandar. Now, I know we just met. This is crazy, but I want you to have a
Oh.
drink off with my friend.
My God. Did you just Carly Rae Jepsen in this campaign?
Yes.
Get the fuck out.
No.
Is this a challenge?
Yes. This is a big challenge. I would like to know, for scientific or for research purposes, which one of you can drink the most ale. And we're talking about Helga's ale. That ale will put you on your ass.
Stisk, as this is going on, you see the air of excitement in everybody as everybody's like looking around and drawing closer and like scraping chairs together and stuff like that. You start to like make a betting pool.
Yep.
I'm gonna tap the bar.
Ooh, I love a good challenge here.
Yeah, this is awesome. I like you already. Vor, now hold on a second. Now, to make it fair, Vor's already had 4 things of ale. So, you have to down, how many have you had?
Helga will look at you and said he's had the equivalent, or Helga will look at you, Tiny, and say Vor's had the equivalent of 2 of these.
Okay. So, Xander needs to make sure he has 2 as well.
He has
before
the
we start.
second one in his hand right now.
Okay. Xander,
Just
I'm
down
gonna
it right
need-
there.
Okay, good. Perfect. Oh,
Do I
this
need
is
any-
gonna be so good.
No, you're good.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Now hold on a second. I want to use where the fuck is my spells? I want to use dancing lights,
Uh-huh.
and I want to put them up in the air above both of them, like almost like spotlights. I want to kind of float them
Oh.
around the bar, like spotlighting both of them.
Yeah, you guys
I'm gonna
watch.
try to convince
ahead.
more people to gamble.
And I want to use. Can I use minor illusion again? Yeah, because I can use as many times as I want. Because I can't trip. I want to have like a announcer voice,
Uh-huh.
like a
Oh,
booming
God.
announcer voice. Ladies and gentle half orcs,
Yep. Yep.
You're in for a real treat tonight. We're going to have a drink off. In this corner, and I have the dancing lights go like spin around for the dragon. Wait, is he dragonborn?
Vor is the
No,
dragonborn.
I'm an orc.
No, you're not an orc. You're
Stop it.
dragonborn.
No, I'm making a joke.
For the dragonborn.
And like you hear people clap and stuff like that. Like dragonborn are cool.
And in this corner, and I move the lights on over to Xander, and they float around. We have Xander. Wait, Xander, what are you again?
I'm a Goliath.
The Goliath. Yeah. Ladies and gentle orcs, place your bets now with the fancy ass looking elf in the corner. Yeah, I'm talking about you, fancy bits. Right over there. Yeah,
and you kind of like
him.
yeah, and you
throw
bring
a
like
light over to him.
a dancing light like shoots across the tavern and like sits on top of Stisk's head.
I'm just gonna wave papers in the air and just be like, "Come on!"
All right, folks, you're in for a treat. Now, the rules are simple. Whoever drinks the most, or whoever can stand with the most mugs of ale, wins. The loser collapses. Ready? And I move the lights back over to them.
Yep.
And drink.
As this all happens, it's like the most theatrical thing you've ever been a part of. Dullahan, you've seen this kind of like shit go down, but like not to the level that Tiny is making this out to be. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I've probably done this before because I already said that I've done
probably,
this before. So I've done this before, but only in Helga's.
Yeah. And Helga's just kind of like sitting behind the bar, like shaking her head. Like, God damn it, please. Both of you take a drink from Helga. It's one of like the half-gallon ones, and you both down it pretty much immediately. Both of you roll Constitution.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Oh God.
Well,
whoa!
We're seeing how this is gonna go.
You watch as Xander drinks it like it's water, and then slams it down and asks for his next one. Vor drinks it pretty quickly, puts it down, and then he kind of like sways in his chair for a second, and then he shakes his head and like puts his hand out for the next one. Helga,
is that it for you?
Helga brings up the next set of drinks, and she's like, "Tiny, if you're gonna do this, you can help pour." And she,
okay. Yeah, Helga, you're right.
And then she like slips down the next set of drinks or whatever, and you both immediately take it and drink it. Constitution.
Odds are 2-1 on the Goliath.
Ooh.
Yeah, people of like almost everybody in the taverns come to you and like filled out betting shits and stuff. Again, both of you drink it down real quick. This time, Xander, you kind of like hiccup for a second. Like, yeah, exactly. Vor, you're resolute. Like, there's like a passion burning in you that you have to win now, even though you feel kind of shitty. You both slam it and then take the next one as Tiny hands you one, Xander, and Helga hands you one. Constitution.
Someone got a second wind.
Again,
Yeah, Jesus.
Vor, you're like, there's like a fiery passion in you as you have to win. You kind of like sway when you take this. Xander, as you take this one, you kind of like lean back in your chair a little bit. You're like,
Helga,
and you shake it
Helga.
off.
Helga, before we get while everybody's cheering us up, Helga, do you still have that stuff still down in the basement? You do.
Yes.
Can we give him a little bit of that? Please.
Maybe.
I'll pay for it.
Maybe. And
If
she
they
like,
can, okay, if they last this next round and they're still standing, then we do it. Yeah.
sure. And she pours another one, and she like drops it on the bar, and Tiny gives you another one, Xander, and then you guys watch as Helga like kind of walks down into the cellar. Both of you, con.
I'm gonna try to flub some of the betting slips.
All right.
Doesn't he have to roll something for that?
Sleight of hand, yeah.
Yeah.
As that's going on, Shijin, you're like kind of scribbling on everything. Kyler, are you doing anything? Or are you just like watching with the crowd?
I am going to move away from the drunkards.
Yeah.
So nothing gets on me, and then I will continue to watch.
Okay. Both of you kind of like drink this one that you're given and then like slam it down on the table and look at each other fiercely. Neither one of you like wanting to like break wills or anything like that.
I
And
motion for
at this,
Kyler to stand by me.
at this point, Helga puts down 2 little shot glasses. Both of them have a liquid in it that's like the consistency of blood.
Now, before they drink it,
Uh-huh.
get back up on the table and bring lights in and go, all right, ladies and gentle orcs. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. This little baby is Helga's secret recipe. Now, if you can stand or walk after one shot of this, then you're God.
All right, so she kind of like slides it to both of you. Both of you take the little shot in your hand, and like I said, it's like the consistency.
To him.
Yeah,
I will definitely tap that glass.
yeah, and it's like the consistency of blood. It's kind of weird. Neither one of you have ever seen it before, and you both immediately take a shot. Both of you roll Constitution with disadvantage.
Have I seen anything like that before?
Nope.
Shit. Oh boy.
You watch as Xander immediately, bam, directly onto the wooden plank. He's out.
And Xander the Goliath is out!
Yep, and everybody immediately starts cheering
Vorag,
and like
the
yelling.
Dragonborn is our winner!
You guys hear as everybody's like, Vorag, Vorag, Vorag. Chanting and stuff like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was a sight to see. Please make sure you graciously tip your tavern owner, aka Helga.
Helga looks at you and she's like, he broke my chair when he fell. This is why I don't do this.
Sorry, Helga. I'll pay for it.
It's fine. She kind of
No,
like,
I'll pay for it.
she kind of like walks back. Do you guys help Xander up or anything like that? Like
I'll
Vor,
help
do you?
him up
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because of like the competition alone. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So Kyler and Vor kind of like pick Xander up and they help him over to a table and they sit him down at the table that you guys were sitting at.
Like 300 baht.
Yeah, and like I mean, you're not like asleep or anything. Like you kind of like wake up as they pick you up and you're like, and they like sit you down. Stisk, after everybody's like turned in their sheets and stuff like that, you end up profiting about, let's see.
Money, money, money.
You profit about 270 gold.
Nice.
Okay, so I want to walk up to Styx.
Uh-huh.
So, you handled the money, yeah?
Yep, I did.
Did you pocket some?
I get down on her level. I just go, yes! Ah. I'm gonna stand up real quick.
Good. I would like half of that to go to Helga, please.
Alright, I'm gonna take out 50 gold and I'm gonna put it on the table.
Okay. Which to you looks about right. It looks about the same amount of money that you probably made last time.
Okay.
All
Thank you,
right.
Styx.
Yep.
And then you guys walk back to the table, where Xander is sitting with the group.
And I give Helga the money first.
Yeah. And she takes it
There
from
you
you
go,
and she
Helga.
puts it in her like a little jar. She's like, "Thank you, sweetie. You guys should probably go to
thank
sleep."
you. Oh, yeah, we probably should. It's really late. Okay.
Can Helga, can we get some water for our fierce competitors here? before bed?
Absolutely. She will bring you. She's like, I've got a special type of water for it, and she'll come back in a moment. She brings another shot glass back. This time it's like sapphire blue. And she gives it to both Vor and Xander, and you both take it. Xander with kind of like worrying looks on your face. As she does it, you're both completely sober.
What?
What?
Do I remember anything?
Yeah, you remember it. You remember
Well,
getting to the
that
point
was
where people were picking
amazing.
you up.
I go
Igor,
shake.
I knew you could outdrink him.
I go shake the Dragonborn's hand. Well done.
I will graciously return that handshake and say thanks, and then I will look at Helga and go, "What was that?"
It's a family secret. She kind of winks at you and walks away.
Is this what you guys do every night?
No, this is a first, and I was already in my cups and agreed to it, so.
I like you.
I like you
mean-
too, Xander. I think you're fit to join us on a group if you ever want to party up. What do you think, Kyler?
I was going to suggest if he is simply roaming around, then maybe he would come with us to the Red Ivy Keep and possibly find a purpose.
What say you, Xander?
Well, haven't seen you guys in combat yet.
Oh, we're pretty good at that stuff.
Roll persuasion.
Fuck. My rolls have been shit. You're really gonna have to make me roll that?
I know, but
God damn it!
You look at my drinking
Why?
rolls, it's okay.
oh, see? It's not that bad.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, she sounds super fucking convinced when she says that. We've been great.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. But we should probably go to bed. Helga says we should go to bed.
It is probably, you get the feeling, probably like close to 1 a.m.
If you haven't paid for a room already, you're welcome to stay with us, considering, you know, you probably just drank enough golden ale to last a while.
I've never stayed in an inn before. Actually,
Oh,
outside.
Well,
that should be fixed as soon as possible. Have you had a bath before? You should have one of those as well.
I mean, you've like gotten in rivers and bathed
Yeah.
and stuff.
Is there a river around here?
a
Oh,
what?
you poor savage.
You just call him a savage?
Okay. In
Kyler.
response to the savage, I'm just gonna full on send a punch right into Kyler's shoulder and just smile the whole time.
I'm wearing full plate, but okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Just make a strength check. Actually,
Savage is a compliment.
first of
Tribe.
all, go ahead and roll your d20 to hit, which you're not proficient in. Yeah. You hit his plate armor and almost break your hand.
Acceptable. Does he take any damage? from
No,
this?
No.
AC is
because you
18.
didn't even match his AC.
Acceptable.
And he kind of looks at you and he's like, "Oh, why?"
You know why. And I'm just gonna keep smiling.
I facepalm. Okay, Xander.
Look, I was complimenting him. He even said it was a
Xander, let's
compliment.
just Kyler, go. Why don't you assist Vor into
What
his
am I-
room, and I will
mean-
take Xander to the bathhouse.
I'm sure Vor's legs are working just fine.
I'm sorry. Let me be more clear. Why don't you go somewhere else so you can shut up? Because that was very rude.
Angry right now.
That was so. You do not. Okay, you do not call someone a savage. Okay,
I
just
want.
because their
That was a
armor,
compliment.
It's quite
because their armor
alright.
isn't shiny as yours, does not mean they're savage.
I want to remind everybody this is coming from the girl who gave a twin sister her dead twin sister's arm to try to comfort her.
I know, right?
in the middle of
Yep.
the tavern.
Don't call somebody
Oh,
a
man.
savage. That's so rude.
You're
We should
also
know
not
some-
supposed to give body parts to people, but okay.
I was consoling the woman. Okay, she needed her whole sister, not half of it.
And I was welcoming Xander into our group.
Fine, fine, fine. Come on, Xander. I'll show you where the bathhouses are.
Yeah. Do you follow her as she gets up from her little stool?
I haven't fully agreed to join your group yet, but I'll tag along.
Okay,
Don't
well
worry.
you can think about it while you're in the bathhouse, and while you sleep in this inn, because
Alright.
this is the best inn you will ever sleep at ever.
Before we go to bed, I'd like to speak to Helga for a little bit longer.
Yep.
Mm.
Does
No.
Cat see this?
No. Cat
Yeah.
is leading Xander back into the bathhouse.
Do I see this?
I mean, yeah, you watch him go over to the bar to talk to Helga as you're probably standing up to go upstairs with Stisk, I imagine.
Then I will make a mental note of that. Go get ready for bed.
Yep. Yeah, so as you walk up to Helga, she says, are you going to sleep?
Yes, I am. But I have a question for you. We're probably going to be leaving tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that you could prepare us some rations for the road, some dried meat, some of Tiny's favorite little buns to go with her own buns, whatever else she likes? I'm assuming you know her needs and wants.
Yes. Certainly, I'll see what I can do to make a little goodie bag, I guess.
And I will leave her 5 gold on the counter, and I'll head upstairs.
Okay. And she'll take it. As she takes it, again, you lead Kat. You lead Xander into the bathhouse. Xander, it's kind of weird to you, but it's a big pool of water. Like, you get the gist or whatever.
Do I fit?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
It's like a public bathhouse. It's made for like 3 or 4 people to be in there at the same time. So you sit down, you wash up. It feels extremely good. You've rinsed in rivers and everything like that before many times, but nothing like a natural hot spring. So sitting in this and like all your muscles relax, and it's pretty amazing. You come out feeling like a completely different person almost.
Okay.
And then you see Tiny like kind of sitting on a bench next to the door, kind of like dozing off, like waiting for you to come out. And as you come out, she like hears the door open and she snaps to attention.
Ah! Oh. Are you done?
Yes. Thank you.
How was it? Yeah? It was good.
I was never experienced anything like that.
Water's magic. And by magic, I mean it's magically heated. But it's amazing, right?
It was good. Yes.
Great. All right. Now, let me show you to your room.
All right. You guys walk up the stairs. The tavern at this point is pretty much completely cleared out. Just a few like stragglers and stuff like that. You walk up the stairs all the way down to the hall, like she told you, and then into what you assume is like the main bedroom. Tiny, you don't normally stay here, but it is probably the only room that would accommodate 5 people in it at the same time.
Okay.
There's a couple beds. There's nice cushions that you could lay out on the floor and all that kind of stuff. And it is fairly nicely done.
Wow. This is really nice. I didn't even know there was room like this. Anyways, Xander, you pick a bed, and I'm gonna go get the rest of them. Well, we're upstairs too.
Yeah, everybody at this, like, as you guys walk in, everybody is in the room.
Okay,
So like,
well, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna say goodnight, Helga. I'll be right back.
yep.
I
So
just go pick a corner, actually lay on the floor.
yeah. As you do that, I assume Kyler probably like throws you a couple like of the large cushions and is like, lay on those.
But it's too soft.
That's the point.
I put one under me.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And there's probably like 3 beds in here. Kyler definitely would have picked out a bed. And Vor would have picked out the largest bed, assuming that Tiny would probably just sleep in the corner of it or something like that, or on one of the cushions. He didn't really know. And Stisk, knowing your character would have picked a bed, 100%.
Oh, yep.
Eventually, you guys start drifting off to sleep. This is going on. Tiny is downstairs talking to Helga. Helga says, "I thought you were going to sleep."
I was, but I wanted to say goodnight to you.
Oh, well, good night, dear.
Thank you for taking care of my friend too.
Of course, why wouldn't I?
I don't know. I've never